Yeah. So we actually want to speak to the chief of police because I know that during one of the press conferences a couple of weeks ago, he was petitioning for his officers and law enforcement actually to move up the line to get vaccinations because they have direct. Um, okay. Well, let's just go ahead and bring him in now. Good morning, Chief.
Hey, good morning, Sabrina.
Good
Sorry I'm late.
morning. Oh, no,
Had a
no,
late
no.
start today.
It's okay. So, yeah, tell us about how many officers got vaccinated because I know that's something that you had been pushing for, and you finally got what you asked for.
Yes, we finally got what we were asking for and advocating for. And I'd like to thank Arts and Augustine and the VAPPC for getting us up on that list so that we can get our officers in. And not only our officers, but, so some of our employees as well on the civilian side. But yeah, I don't have a count. Everything was very fluid and fast moving on Thursday, New Year's Eve. And of course, Friday was a holiday, so I don't have a count of how many officers actually got vaccinated. It's definitely something I'll look into today. But I do know that I saw quite a few of my officers up at Okadu on Thursday morning. So it's very fast moving when we got the call from Arts and Augustine early Thursday. And a lot of coordination, a lot of calls to my staff to get our officers up there so that we can get started.
And if you could just kind of take us back, why it was important for your officers to move up and to get the vaccinations, because when you spoke at that press conference a couple weeks ago, it kind of was like I can't believe they weren't on the same level as like a GFD.
Right now, so I do understand that there's a limited number of vaccines on island. I do understand that there is a group of people before us that would take priority. Like the healthcare workers and those in the healthcare profession. But as the chief of police, I've always wanted to make sure that my officers also get to the front of that line, because we have over the past dealt with a lot of COVID positive cases, and when you're dealing with a known positive case, it's easier to protect yourself. But with the Guam Police Department, we deal with a lot of unknown positive cases, and we're running to the scene. We're responding to these cases, and lo and behold, we find out when they get to the hospital that they're COVID positive, and that's happened maybe about 3, 4, 5 times already that I've been aware of. Where we've actually dealt with, had to use force, to handcuff people, and then we take them up, and we find out that they're positive. Or, I know we responded to a fatal car crash, and, we've had to do the investigation, and we find out later on that one of the parties in the car crash was a positive case. Or we've responded to homes, expired persons, to find out from family that the person who passed away, unfortunately, is COVID positive. And so, those are the unknowns that the officers deal with on a daily basis. We work down at the quarantine facility and the isolation facility. As a matter of fact, one of my officers who was assigned to the ISOFAC, contracted the virus and was in ICU. And thankfully, and to the grace of God, he recovered, and he's actually back to work at the ISOFAC again.
Did you get vaccinated?
Absolutely, I got vaccinated. And like I said, I was waiting for the Guam Police Department's turn in line to get vaccinated. I wanted to make sure that I get vaccinated along with my officers. And I want to encourage my officers and my employees, who have not received the vaccine, let's get vaccinated. Let's do our part, to protect ourselves so that we can continue to protect our community.
And this was on Thursday, right, that you got vaccinated?
Yes, ma'am. So my second dose, I believe, is on the 21st of January.
So how did you feel afterwards?
I sat down in the observation room for about 30 minutes, and actually, I didn't feel any symptoms. Later on that night, though, my arm was sore, very sore, And one of the nurses told me that to expect that it's going to be sore. And so it was feeling kind of sore, actually very sore, into Friday morning, New Year's Day. But after a couple of days, by Saturday I was just up and about, and wasn't feeling that side effect anymore. As a matter of fact, I went with a couple of friends, and we went on our first ride, our Harley ride of the year, down south. So I had a nice day after New Year's.
Did you get a chance to see the fireworks in Agate?
No, only the video of the fireworks in Agate, supposedly.
Okay. Is that something you guys are going to be looking into?
Yes, well, reach out to the ATF as well and see if we have any information that we can move on and proceed with.
I think you guys got a pretty good lead, though. I mean,
yeah, I don't have any information.
Cannot comment on an ongoing investigation, Sabrina. Thank you.
All right, Chief. Anything else happening or happened over the weekend, or any updates on any of the cases? I know that you guys got Chitaro, and then there were a whole bunch of other people that were arrested. I mean, you gave out a stern warning. If you guys are hindering or hiding this guy, watch out, because we're gonna get you. And sure enough.
Yeah. Thanks, Sabrina, for mentioning that. And yes, we did do the press conference, and we did provide a warning to anybody that was involved in any way, shape, or form in hindering Chitaro's apprehension, that you're going to be held accountable. And we did. After we arrested him, we went back out and picked up all the people that we had information on that were hindering, and we brought them in and questioned them and arrested them. What we did find out, though, through that investigation is guns and drugs. And I think that was a kind of an awakening call for the Guam Police Department, because we're dealing with particularly the Chukis community, the young adults, and it was quite. I think it was quite a surprise, an eye opener, to see how far into their community ICE has infiltrated crystal methamphetamine. And it is something that we're going to be talking to with their community, their leaders, the FSM consulate. They like to reach out to her and talk to her about this. Some of their church leaders, their elders, because they still have a very strong elder system in place. And so I like to enlighten them on what our findings were, so that maybe we can work together to kind of curb, if not stop, what's infiltrated their community.
Mm-hmm. When you say,
very, very alarming, to say the least.
When you say drugs and guns, are we talking about like distributing, or just possession? Or they were using, or we're talking about
definitely we found people that we suspect are using, and definitely we found people who were in possession. That part of the investigation, of course, is still ongoing. But we're trying to determine, if they're within the community, starting now to distribute, and that's what we're trying to curb, and address. But it's in the community now. It's in their community now, and it is at least for this group, which was a sizable group of young male adults or young adults. We saw that it permeated into that group, and so it's a wake up call. That they're now part of the drug use community, drug possession and drug use community,
and possible distribution community.
And possibly distribution is something that we're looking at, definitely.
Wow, that's sad. Is it when you say alarming, like a large amount of drugs and guns were found?
Not large amounts, but just the fact that we're finding, guns and drugs, in a tight knit community like that was alarming, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should we anticipate any more arrests?
No, I think we've made all the arrests that we needed with regards to the death investigation, or the Chotaro's investigation at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, drug investigations, continue to move forward, and we'll see where it takes us.
Is there anything on Michael Castro missing?
That investigation is ongoing. As a matter of fact, if you look back, we've had two back-to-back death investigations that we anticipate will be classified as homicides. We had the old lady up in Sinanya, and then the same day that was reported, we had this Chotaro case with Wakuk being the victim. So that put a strain on our investigative capacity. So now we get to jump back onto the Castro investigation, and we have some leads that we're working on, but I don't know where that's going to take us yet. But it's definitely not a done case. It's still an ongoing investigation.
Okay.
And I think that's probably the most we can say for now.
What about some of the, we got several reports of, not several, but in recent weeks, we had all those reports of like bones that were being found, remains. Was there ever any update on any of those cases?
I know that the medical examiner, Dr. Dodderman, may have done an examination already. I'll find out and I'll get back to you. But I do know that the weeks prior, or the days prior to those remains being found, I know we had a lot of heavy weather. A lot of rain. And a lot of wash off from the rivers into the ocean. So, in my experience, I've actually received a couple of times calls when I was a detective. I actually had to go out and recover some human remains, especially after heavy downpour. But not to say that, it'd be premature to say that they are human, ancient remains until such time that, a expert has done the proper examination. And I did get a call from the State Historic Preservation Officer, the acting SHPO, Carlotta, young girl, and she offered the services of their archaeologists to kind of take a look, and that's something that we're going to be doing. Just making the coordination to do that.
So I guess before we let you go, resolutions or goals for 2021.
Yeah, definitely. More things we like to get back onto the table. Once we get back to some sense of normalcy. We have our neighborhood watch programs. We haven't had a sit down with our neighborhood watch groups in a while. A lot of good stuff going on with our youth. We have a new project called Project U. And, maybe if you haven't had a chance to talk to bring Sergeant Maggie Napati on, definitely want to bring her on so we can talk about Project U. It's part of our funding that we receive under the Safe Schools Initiative. It's a new program that we've launched, but kind of along the same lines of what we've been doing, the anti-bullying, anti-drug, and making better life decisions kind of program. We definitely missed our Fade Away from Violence kickball tournament. We'd like to get that back up, once we're able to have some kind of sports program that's allowable. But we're just excited to get back out into the community with our community outreach programs, and definitely make that reconnection with them. We're continuing with hiring. We have 24 recruits that are still undergoing training, and we're continuing to recruit. So we're moving along with the recruitment of more officers for the Guam Police Department, so that we can better serve the community.
You're not going anywhere, are you? I know we got the press release from Madaloop on different cabinet appointments and people moving around. You're still staying at GPD, or?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I'm still here. The only place I'm going right now is probably to the office.
All right, Chief. Thanks for coming on.
Sabrina, before we close, so I'd like to give a big shout out, and kudos to the Department of Public Health and Social Services, San Augustine, and his group of men and women, especially up at the Ukuru site. When I went up there Thursday to receive my vaccination, that thing was a well-run operation, very smooth, very little wait, and I got to give it to them. Coming in, 3 days a week, to give vaccines during this very challenging time. But they've really got it together, and I'd like to thank again Public Health for getting the Guam Police Department, its men and women, the opportunity to get vaccinated. And to close off, Bree and Andy, I'd like to wish all of you a happy New Year, and to wish our island, our community, a happy New Year. And we all pray for a better 2021.
All right. Thanks, Chief.
Happy New Year, Chief.
Happy
Stay
New Year.
safe.
Happy New Year. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. And speaking of public health, they are constantly busy. They have community testing going on today at Guam Community College. It is from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. This is today and tomorrow. The first hour, so that's 8 to 9.